Okay, everybody, welcome back to the DataTrust Data Protection Brain Share series of videos. Today, I just want to show you what's involved in a very simple install of the DataTrust client software. Two possible sources for the software. One is if you haven't an account set up with us or haven't dealt with us, this is your first time with us, you'll be setting up a trial account, which means that you do it through our web interface. You go into the website, and just bear in mind that this website is updated continually, so what I'm doing here may be slightly different when you get to visit the website. In this version of the website, I just go in under the trial section. It tells me the different versions of client software here, and I'll say pick the Windows Server version. This is the Internet Explorer dialog here asking me, do you want to run or save the software? And I say I want to save as, and I save it onto, we'll say, let's make it simple, onto the C drive, right? The root to the C drive, and just keep a note of the name of the file, DataTrust OBM-when, and I hit save. While that's downloading, the second possible area that you could get the client software from is if you have a trial or a full user account and you go to the web interface of the DataTrust service and you log in to your account. Okay, so I put in my username and my password. In this case, this is a trial account that we use for demonstration purposes. And here you can see the link at the very top. You have install software. When you click on that link, you get this dialog box opening, the web page, and under these super headings here you have all the different versions of the software. So you have the Windows version, two different versions there. You have the Mac version, two different versions there. You have the Linux or the Unix version, which there's only one version of, and you have a Novell client as well, which you have one version of here. But anyway, as I said earlier, I'll close this dialog, I'll log out here, and as I said earlier, I'm actually going to use the version of software that came directly down from the website, which is still in the process of downloading here. Okay, and we're at 99% there now, and it has downloaded, and we say we want to run the software. Okay, I can close the web page here and just leave the installation run so it's clearer. Okay, so you pick the language, and pick the language. It's just a welcome screen here, so we click next. Look down through the terms of use of the software. Hit I accept, hit next. The installation folder you want to put it into. Just one tip for you. This machine has only one drive, as you'll see once you go into My Computer. But if you had multiple drives here, check for the drive that has the most disk space, because the DataTrust client does create pretty substantial temporary files while a backup is running, and you want as much space as possible for the client to run properly. So I leave it at the C drive. In fact, you can see here the minimum requirement is a measly 106.9 megabytes. Hit next. Who's allowed to use it? We generally leave that as anyone. And then it gives you a summary of what it's about to do, and then you leave it run. Okay, and there we are. It's not too bad after all. It literally runs in 30 seconds. And we can hit finish here, and with the option of ask it, can we launch the DataTrust afterwards? Here we go. I said yes. We're opening the software. Now, because it's the first time we've ran it, it actually is showing us which one of the DataTrust servers we're using and how we connect to the internet. This is purely a function of a characteristic of your own setup there. Do you use a proxy server or not? Corporate organization are probably very likely to be using a proxy server for protection or caching, etc. But we're not. We're using a direct connection here. So I hit next. Now in this dialog, what you have here, first of all, is for setting up a trial registration. Look at this at the top, a trial registration. If I'm already a user and I'm actually setting up with a username and a password that I already have on the system, so for example, I was moving the software to a new computer, I just hit this one, already a user, which I will do in a second. But if I wanted to set it up from scratch, I have no account with you, I've never before dealt with DataTrust, I want to be up and running in a couple of minutes, I pick a username, a login name, pick a password, confirm the password, put in your email address, and hit submit, and a trial account is created for you. If you're already a user, which we are, we click on the already user button. It asks us for the username and the password and we're into the software. Once we open the software, the default behavior is that it immediately recognizes that there's no backup sets already created, and it says, hold on, we need to create a backup set before we do anything. I'm going to cancel this for a second. I'm going to quit this. Two last checks I want to show you before we finish this. The installation is finished. When the installation was running, in your Windows services, it created two extra services, right? The first service is here. It's called the Continuous Data Protection Service, which is this guy. Continuous Data Protection is where files are continuously backed up as they're being changed. You want a very good internet connection to use this service, and generally, if you're not using it, I would recommend, because that can be pretty resource hungry, stop and disable this service. If you're not using it, there's no point in having it running. So I just go again, right click on it, go into the properties, change the startup type to disabled. Okay, that's just, it can be pretty resource hungry, the continuous data protection. If you're not using it, there's no point in having it running there. The second service that has been added in the course of this installation is this online backup scheduler service. That has to be running for, as the name correctly suggests, that has to be running for your scheduled jobs to run. You see it here, online backup scheduler, DataTrust OBM. It started automatic. You can, as you get more familiar with the system, you can start messing around with this in, for example, who the service logs on as. If you had permissions issues, this may come into play at a later stage. But for the moment, we leave it start to as local system, which gives it a very high level of rights on the local system. That is your software now installed and up and running. And the last thing I will say to you is that if you look now down the system tray, you can see your DataTrust Online Backup Manager system tray icon running there. And if you right click on that, you have a series of menus here like that you can, now when I opened it that time, I created a trial backup set. I can run a backup, I can do a backup and log off, backup and restart, backup and shut down. But your installation is complete once you can see the system tray here, the services are in there and the job is finished, and you have your DataTrust OBM shortcut there as well. Now I have the icons hidden on this desktop, but generally you'll have an icon on your desktop as well with DataTrust OBM. Thanks very much for joining me. Watch the rest of the videos. Very simple piece of software to use, very reliable piece of software to use, but as you know, you have a few simple principles to get used to. Thanks for your time.